Waldorf presiding.
Thank you. All right, good afternoon, everybody, and we wish to extend a warm welcome to everybody to the swearing in of the Honorable Joseph Daniel Waldorf as Supreme Court Justice in and for the 7th Judicial District of the State of New York. My name is Matthew Rich, and it is my distinct honor and pleasure to be the Master of Ceremonies for today's proceedings. To the right, to my right I should say, is the man of the hour, our good friend Joe, who moments from now will take his oath of office and continue his career-long journey in service to the men and women of our community. Next to Joe sits our very good friend and Joe's boss, at least for the next 15 to 20 minutes or so, the Administrative Judge for the 7th Judicial District, the Honorable William K. Taylor. We're all going to have the opportunity to hear remarks from Justice Taylor later on in today's ceremony. Joining us up front here today are two very great friends of ours and former colleagues of mine and Joe's from our time at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. First, I want to introduce to my right former Ontario County First Assistant District Attorney and now Ontario County Assistant County Attorney, Mr. Jason McBride. Next to him sits the three of our former supervisor and frankly our guiding light, Ontario County Court Judge Christina A. Carley. Now anybody who knows Joe or any of the four of us know that there exists an unbreakable bond that he, Kitty, Jason, and I share. And we are truly honored that these two ventured up from Ontario County to join us here today. Let me also introduce the chairman of the Monroe County Republican Committee, almost directly ahead of me, Mr. Patrick Riley. Thank you, Pat, for joining us here on this wonderful occasion. Finally, joining us up front here today is our dear friend, Mr. Don Mazzullo, who is the chairman of the Monroe County Conservative Committee. Mr. Chairman, on behalf of Joe and all the rest of us, we are truly grateful that you could join us here today for these proceedings. I am certain there are any number of very distinguished dignitaries here in the courtroom today. And frankly speaking, if you're a friend of Joe's and you're here, that makes you a dignitary in all of our eyes that you would be so kind as to join us. I do wish to acknowledge one of our county chairs from here in the 7th Judicial District, Mr. Jack Pendergrass, who's in the front row. We wish to welcome everybody here today and thank you for joining us. We also wish to acknowledge the various judges who are here today who have come here and decided to honor us with their presence to welcome Joe into their prestigious fraternity. We are amazed at the incredible turnout of Joe's now colleagues who come here for the swearing in today. So welcome to all of you and thank you for being here. Lastly and most importantly, we wish to recognize and gratefully acknowledge the members of Joe's family here today. See, I'm going to remember. Helen, his wife, is here today. His sister Mary, his father Robert is here as well. Joe's mother-in-law Yvonne is here as well. I would be most remiss if I didn't acknowledge the presence of Miss Tammy Buck, who is here and might as well be family at this point. But I must also say that certainly the presence of Joe's late mother Bridget is with us here today. I know she is looking down on these proceedings and beaming with pride at what her son has been able to accomplish. Now, before we proceed, please indulge me once more as I get to say a few words about my friend Joe. It should be noted that so far in 2023, he's called upon me to give the best man speech on a beach in Mexico. He's called on me to give his nomination speech at the district convention, and now I get to speak freely here at the courtroom 404. Right, there is no kill button. At some point, Joe may come to recognize that giving me a live microphone is perhaps not the best idea, but for today, I guess not, so we'll continue on. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, this is in fact courtroom 404 of the Hall of Justice. And if you spend any time in this building, you know that this room typically hosts the most important and high-profile matters that our judiciary system here deals with. It's indeed my great honor to sit up here at the bench with my friend, where I'm sure that in either this room or one not unlike it somewhere else in the building or anywhere else in the district, he'll sit as the presider in very important matters which are going to come before him as a Supreme Court Justice. But I also have to tell you, and most of you know this, that I've had the honor to sit with Joe at that table to my left, which is typically where the prosecution sits in a criminal case. Joe, as a prosecutor, handled the most grave of matters, including instances where he fought for justice on behalf of abused children, or in cases where someone lost their life to senseless violence. I've also had the great honor to sit with Joe at that table to my right, which is typically the defense table. Joe defending individuals facing the most dire of circumstances and on trial for the most serious of crimes. Joe's focus as an advocate for the accused was always on the needs of his client and on the protection of their rights under the law. He was an excellent prosecutor and an excellent defense attorney, and he is going to be an outstanding Supreme Court Justice. Whether it was in this room or others like it, or at the Fourth Department, the Court of Appeals, the District Attorney's Office, the Conflict Defender's Office, any number of town or city courts, our former shared office in the Times Square building, as glorious as it was, or in the chambers of Justice Taylor. Joe Waldorf has always embodied the spirit of humility, scholarship, dogged preparation, reverence for the law, fairness, and respect for his colleagues and the individuals having business before our various courts. These, in my view, are truly the qualities of an ideal jurist. I submit to you that I can think of no finer individual than Joe to be taking up the mantle of this office as a Supreme Court Justice. It is truly my honor to call him my friend, and speaking on behalf of all of his many other friends here in the room today, and his colleagues, both present and unable to be with us today. Joe, we are extremely proud of you. We wish you wisdom, grace, and good fortune as you take your oath and ascend to the bench here today. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for being here again, and I turn these proceedings over to the Honorable William K. Taylor.
Let's give him a round of applause. That was I have to say, Matthew Rich never disappoints. He does a great job, but of course, Kitty and Jason would know as well as I, we always hold our breath a little bit. Right? And I think they made it through, so wonderful, wonderful job. Thank you, Joe, for giving me the chance just to say a few words today, as all of us in this room get the chance to welcome our newest Supreme Court Justice. First, I want to say congratulations. Joe, I am so proud of you for what you have accomplished. I know the campaign was a lot of work for you and certainly a lot of work for Helen and so many others, and I'm happy you made it. I think this means it's real, right? I think we can all pinch ourselves. I think it's real. And I know these campaigns are a huge team effort, and I know you got a lot of wisdom and help from the folks in this room. I see a lot of smiling faces who I know helped Joe along the way, and I know each and every one of you feel the sense of pride that I feel seeing him up here. The robe looks good. It looks good. It's a loaner. His real one's coming in a few weeks. Don't worry. And of course to Joe's wonderful family, to Helen, Mary, Joe's wonderful sister. Hi Mary, how are you? Bob Waldorf, Joe's dad, and of course Yvonne Syme, who's Helen's mom, who I think all of us only know as wifey. Everybody calls her wifey, and I asked Joe before we got in, is it okay to call her wifey? And he said, yeah. She'd think it was weird if I called you Yvonne. So, Mrs. Syme, congratulations. I see you in the front row, and of course Tammy, who's part of our family too. Congratulations to all of you. And remember, each of you all have a very important thing in common with me. And that is that I think of Joe as my family too. So I know it's a proud day for all of us. As Matt said too, I know Joe's mom is looking down with a great deal of pride in her son as we celebrate this momentous occasion. So since Joe and I met many years ago at the DA's office, I've always had the utmost respect for his intellect and his dedication to the law. But these last 7 years, we have gotten so close, and I have had the chance firsthand to see how brilliant and talented you really are. And I've always said, and I'll say it again today, that I believe Joe Waldorf is the smartest person that I know, and let me tell you, I believe it. When it comes to any legal issue, any problem that needs solving in a courtroom, I'd always put my money on Joe to get it right. And over the next 14 years, and hopefully beyond, it's a little early to plan about that, but we all think about it, right? The people of this community are going to be so fortunate to have you as a Supreme Court Justice. I feel today's a bit of a day where I have to walk down memory lane, and I remember that day 7 years ago when we met at the Starbucks in Brighton at 12 Corners. And I asked Joe if he'd be willing to interview to be my law clerk. From our days at the DA's office, I knew he was smart, I knew he'd worked hard, he was a good writer, and as anyone will tell you, Kitty and Jay and Matt, and anybody in this room will tell you, Joe is as loyal as the day is long. Look, McBride's even nodding, he knows. But he had very little civil experience, right? He was a criminal guy. And I honestly wasn't sure 100% if he'd actually like the job. So I made you think about it. And he called me the next day and he said that he would like to interview. So he came in for the interview. And I'd like to say Tammy and I hired him for his intellect and his amazing personal and professional qualities. But that would actually only be half right, my half. Because once he talked with Tammy about his love of Dachshunds and golf, that's how you pronounce the dog, right? A Dachshund, the wiener dog? Yeah. Okay. It was all over, right? It was all over. And the other candidates dissolved, and Tammy called him right after the interview. I think you were in the library. He said, "Get on back here." And Tammy offered him the job. Look, I know who the boss is, let's be real. And that is how our three-person team began. And when Joe came on board, he threw himself into his work with a zeal like I've never seen before. He learned civil quickly, and with Joe working a case or a problem, I always knew that I would get his absolute best. Honestly, ask yourselves, and the judges will appreciate this, ask yourselves, how many people do you know who would walk into work and tell you how they've been casually reading all the latest U.S. Supreme Court cases the night before? Who knows people like that, right? Or how about that Chief Justice Roberts had written an opinion crafted like a pulp detective novel, and that Joe was going to write our next car accident case in that same style? Who works with people like this, right? Who but Joe Waldorf would cite Marbury versus Madison in an Article 78 case? Who does that? Who does that? Joe Waldorf does. And who else? Who else but Joe would keep the same positive attitude on the 15th draft of a decision that I edited, that same positive attitude as he had with the first? That is Joe Waldorf. That is who you are. A man who has been totally committed to the law and totally committed to the work that we have done in this building, who's made himself really into an extraordinary civil lawyer, and who is about to be a really extraordinary judge. I know others feel it too. I look around the room and there's so many people in this building who have come to you for help, Joe, and they've walked away smarter and more confident about what to do next. There hasn't been one day, there has not been one moment in the last 7 years where I didn't feel lucky that you were on my team. Not one moment, not one. And please, don't let his steady and calm demeanor fool you. I know Joe is even keel, I know. But always know that he cares about people. He really, truly does. And today, as you're about to be sworn in, I think of those victims that you fought for in the Child Abuse Bureau with Matt and Kitty and Jason. You fought for those people. The story of that young woman looking at your purple tie for strength when she testified. That's who you are. All those clients you represented, and I saw it for the last 7 years, all those times when you went the extra mile to get a decision just right so we could do the right thing, or when you went out of your way to make sure that a party was treated fairly. I was paying attention. I've seen all those things. Joe has always blended brilliance with a passion to help people. and I know you're going to do the exact same thing on Supreme Court. If I might take a moment of personal privilege, I hope you don't mind, but I just want to say thank you for the time that we've had together. These last 7 years have been the greatest professional collaboration of my life. We have done some great work together, the back and forth, the writing, the thinking, and not that I know anything about music, because I do not, but when we wrote together, when we worked a problem together, it felt like a symphony. We were like Simon and Garfunkel, or Hall and Oates maybe, before they sued each other. I know things aren't working out. I know they're not working out. But man, I felt that. We were always in sync, always looking out for each other, always with our eye on the ball. And so I wanted to say to you today on this special occasion that it has been one of the great joys of my life to have you as my partner in the law, and I am truly, truly going to miss you so much. But of course, Tammy said no crying, and there will be no crying.
Don't cry.
There will be no crying. Our team has always, it's never been just you and me, right? It's always been the three of us, you, me, and Tammy, and I know Tammy feels everything I'm feeling today, pride, love, and gratitude for the time that we have all shared. I always thought Joe was such a great guy because he realized that I would always love Tammy more. And he would love too. And I always thought to myself, what a good guy that he realizes that. And then, of course, I realized in the last year or two that it was easy for him because he loved Tammy more too. And so it was always very simple for him.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Tammy reminded me today, or yesterday, that today's not about you leaving us. It's not. It's about celebrating the fact that our community and our courthouse and all of our wonderful colleagues, we just got an amazing judge on the Supreme Court. So now, before you get sworn in, I promise I won't be much longer. Before I swear you in, you know me way too well to think that I could let this moment pass without giving you just a little advice. Right? I couldn't do it. You know me, I couldn't do it. Okay? A little something for you to take with you from our amazing partnership. And of course, at this point, fortunately or unfortunately for you, you've heard all my stories more times than you could count, right? And I'm not sure if I think you've heard every piece of advice that I could possibly give a new judge. So instead of advice, I decided that I'm going to give you 3 gifts instead of advice. 3 gifts, 3 reminders, 3 mementos that you can take with you to help you along the way. So as you know, and many of you in this room know, we have some water for the gifts. We have a tradition in the 7th JD that I present on behalf of all the judges a gavel to the new judges who are elected. Here's the little base for it right here. Okay? And when I present the gavel, I always tell everyone that the striking of the gavel, does anyone know, people always wonder, why a gavel? Judges really don't use gavels in court, right? Nobody uses it, right? And so why the gavel? Why is it a symbol of the judiciary? And as I tell folks, the striking of a gavel is meant to be the theatrical demonstration of finality. It's a metaphor for the active decisional moment of a judge when they hit that gavel. And there's a quote from a book about gavels, which I know you're all wondering, there's a book about gavels? There is, yes, it's true. It's on Amazon. And so the quote from the book is as follows. Sharp is the moment in which the head of the gavel strikes against the wooden surface and generates the sound of division between the past and the future. Kind of dramatic, right? Yeah, kind of dramatic. And today, Joe, does mark the division between your past as an attorney and your future as a judge. That is today. So the gavel that I give you should remind you of that change in your life and of the important decisions that you'll make in this building. And of course, you have all these wonderful colleagues to help you along. But I'm giving you a different sort of gavel. Not the standard one I ordered from Staples. Well, kind of, but you'll see in a moment. It's a special gavel, and it's just for you. And I know how much you strive to be perfect. And I know how much you torture yourself when we get reversed, or we leave a typo in a decision, or we make any mistake. You still talk about misspelling the word Cayuga 3 years ago in an order. He still talks about it, right? And I want you to know that it's okay not to be perfect. And I want you to know that actually the legal system is designed for imperfection. It's actually designed for it. That's why I have appeals and motions to re-argue, you know this, and liquid paper, delete buttons, right? We're built for mistakes. So I know you're leaving me, and I want you to know, don't be so hard on yourself. Strive for perfection, but don't expect yourself to actually be perfect. Forgive yourself when you make a mistake. I know that's hard for you, but do it. And to help you remember this, here is the gavel that I'm presenting you today. Oh, I like the dramatic. Here it is. It's broken. And I want you to keep that in your chambers to always remember. Keep it on your desk. It is imperfect on purpose, just like all of us. Don't forget that. Okay? Now my second gift, number 2. I know you work super fast, and that once you get going, you are relentless in your efforts to get things done. And that's great. But remember that as an appeals lawyer, the law often moves at a slow and deliberate pace. And we both know the lamppost outside the U.S. Supreme Court has a turtle statue at the base. I don't know if you all knew that, but the lamps have little turtle statues. And it's there to remind you of that fact. So, for your chambers, the turtle. And I want you to put it in your chambers as a reminder of that deliberate pace. Joe and the turtle. And a reminder to calmly follow the path where the law and the facts take you. And remember that deliberate pace. And now, don't worry, it's my final gift. That's it. I promise, this is it. I have decided to give you a picture to hang in your office of who I think is the ideal judge. Okay? It's an image of a judge that will inspire you. This judge is thoughtful. This judge is hardworking, wise, experienced, and everything that a judge should be. So, when you're on your own in your chambers and you have doubts or you have tough decisions before you, when you're not quite sure what to do, I hope you'll look at this picture and it reminds you of my image of what an ideal judge looks like. Just rip the top. All right. Just an envelope. Oh. The judge, looking back at you, is going to get older. The hair's maybe going to thin out like mine. And he may not always look the way he does today, but I don't want you to ever forget that I believe in that judge. And I always will. So, congratulations, my friend. Enjoy doing the work that you were absolutely born to do. And let's get you started. Let's do it. Ellen, come on up. Let's do it. I love the silence.
I know. Man.
All right. Everybody ready to become a judge? Let's do it. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Joseph Daniel Waldorf,
I, Joseph Daniel Waldorf,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge my duties
and that I will faithfully discharge my duties
as a New York State Supreme Court Justice
as a New York State Supreme Court Justice
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
and gavel, that
He actually broke it all by himself.
it's a nice break. It's a very clean break.
Yeah.
But, wow, I just can't thank everyone enough for being here. As, while this is an oath ceremony, what it really is just an incredible outpouring of my thanks for each and every one of you who are here today, and for those who aren't here, just all of your love and support throughout this whole process. If I forget to thank anyone, please do not take any offense. I am sorry. After all, please note that I forgot to thank my wife at the nominating convention. Please, you're in good company. Again, my thank yous are going to break down into a few different groups, categories that have a lot of overlap between them. The first being the campaign and political thank yous, and then also from my professional and personal life. As far as this most recent campaign, I want to thank, he's not able to be here, but I spoke to him this morning, former Monroe County Republican Chair David Dunning, who presided over my unanimous nomination at the convention. He always had a kind and encouraging word whenever I had a chance to meet with him, and I was so grateful for his courtesies. I also want to thank, right in front of me, our current Monroe County Republican Chair, Pat Riley. Any event that I went to, he always was kind enough to give a shout out and had an encouraging word, and was a friendly face at any spot throughout the county. I was very grateful and very much appreciated his support throughout the campaign. And then also I want to most importantly thank, to my left, Chairman Don Mazzullo of the Monroe County Conservative Party. Thank you for your vision, your trust, the faith that you placed in me in this campaign. I'm grateful every time we get a chance to meet because I learned something new, whether it's discussing a book or discussing historical matters, or just finding that perfect word that fits the thought that you're trying to get across. And I'm always thankful for your friendship and support. You have changed my life, and Helen and I are forever grateful and thankful to you and Teresa. And thanks for your support. I have the great privilege to serve our community and see that justice is done. I want to thank you also, many thanks to our great Republican chairs present here, Jack Prendergast from Yates County. I just can't thank you enough for your courtesies and kindnesses. Some of the most wonderful campaign events I had the chance to attend were with you and the great people of Yates County, so I want to thank you for that. Tricia Turner from Ontario County, Joe Sembolinski. Whenever I was at the Steuben County Fair, I highly recommend going. There were these great pig races, just wonderful events, good people. It was really lovely, and Joe was always kind and courteous. And Mary Ann Nicosia McCarthy, our Wayne County Chair, she was my second at the convention, and her kindnesses were she always had a kind word and would help fix my name tag if it was out of place at an event. So she was just lovely, and I can't thank her enough. Also Tom Fox, Seneca County, John Camargo from Cayuga County, and the former Livingston County Chair, John Power. Just wonderful people who really, in the short campaign I did have, really welcomed me at every event, and were just so gracious, and I'm thankful for them. Thank you also to our Livingston County Chair. Well, I don't see him here, Jason McGuire, and I spoke to Mike Garlock, the Wayne County Chair. Again, very people who extended a lot of support and courtesies throughout this campaign. Again, some dignitaries who were not able to be here, but any event I went to, they gave amazing shout-outs and were just such great cheerleaders throughout. It was Assemblyman Brian Mantolo, Jeff Gallahan, Senator Pam Helming, and Jean Christman, the Ontario County Clerk. She was just, any questions we had, she was just the most courteous person to meet out on the trail, and I was just so thankful for her. Special thanks, and I see in our front row my friends from the Webster Republican community. I see Patty Cataldi, John Tuberty, and of course Peter and Pam Elder. just so supportive of the campaign, of me personally. Patty, I look forward to sharing Africa stories and photos hopefully very soon. But your friendship means the world to me, so thank you for being here. Special thanks also, I want to highlight Peter Elder. Much like the conversations I had with Don, I leave any meeting with Peter always more educated and wise, and so I'm always thankful for our conversations, but also for your friendship. So thank you to both you and Pam from the bottom of my heart, and I know from Helen too. We're very thankful for you. I'm not sure if I see any of my fellow Kiwanians from Webster, but this is a great group of people who do a lot of good. It's been my privilege to be with them over the last couple of years. They've meant a lot to me and do a lot of great work. And also the media team, NXT Media, Lee Smith, just incredible folks that I think captured the message that I wanted to send. And I'm just so thankful that who I am, I think, got translated pretty well into the commercial. So I was really thankful for all of their incredible efforts. And speaking of our campaign team, James Nobles was our treasurer, and Dina, our secretary, essentially just wonderful people, hard workers. Emma Laws, who kept my calendar and really kept us online. It was a very busy calendar. We had a real short runway, and so thankful for all of her efforts. And of course, whenever I went to an event, I was able to say I've got the support of my mother-in-law, which was always great because she also she would be at many of these events where Helen couldn't make it, and so Yvonne, wifey, we traveled a great deal of the district. We saw a lot of great people, and we're just so very thankful. I appreciate everything you did. Folks talk about magical moments that happen in campaigns when you're out on the trail. A lot of chicken dinners, a lot of speeches. These are all great. My dog gained about 5 pounds. I certainly need to get back to the gym here, but there's certain magical moments that happen. And for me, while it wasn't a campaign event, I was at a Rotary event, and I had the chance to be seated next to Judy and Clark Nolan, who I see in the audience. And never met them before. It just happened to some charity event, and boy, it was as if we'd known each other forever. Helen, what do you refer to, your Zinfandel buddy or something like that? But again, that was a truly magical moment that happened on the campaign because Clark would wear my campaign shirt. He was sharing everything on social media. For me, that was a true magical moment that happened on the campaign, and I'm forever grateful and enriched by knowing you both and your family. I've turned to the professional and personal life. I've been truly blessed. Seated in front of me are Judge Carly, Kitty, and Jason McBride. Of course, you've met our MC, Matt Rich. By the way, that was the same best man speech. On a beach in Mexico, it didn't have quite the same ring to it.
Slightly lower beat.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a little different delivery. But again, Kitty and Jason, you have profoundly impacted my life. I am just incredibly, the word thanks don't quite capture my gratitude to both of you. In the DV and Child Abuse Bureau, you led our small group, Kitty did, of our dedicated prosecutors. A lot of the content in the commercial, the headlines, were thanks to the trust that Kitty had placed in a young prosecutor to really fight for some young folks and help people out. So, thank you. And same is true for Jason. Again, always there. No better colleague, no better friend. Even helped me paint a room in I just bought a house. I had nothing but folding chairs. And Jason and his young family come over and help me paint, and we're eating pizza on the floor. It was a real odd situation, but again, it's the type of person that Jason is. Just amazing people. We're waking up in the morning, getting into work, and just listening to jail calls with a cup of coffee. It's brilliant. These are special days. And, But, the bottom line is thanks to Kitty for her leadership and trust in me, and Jason's friendship, and Matt in our bureau. We had a real great group of people who did a lot of great work. Matt as well, just having come up from the early days in the DA's office, we've seen it all, the toughest cases, into private practice, which I see so many private solo practitioners in the room. To truly know what that is like, that has enriched my life. I know how hard you all work, and what it's like to, you eat what you kill, you got to keep the lights on, and you do your best by each client. And so I'm very appreciative for all of your support of the solo practitioner bar out there. But when we talk about my friendship with Matt, Kitty, and Jason, just a highlight to that, when my mom had passed away in May of 2015, Kitty, Matt, and myself, and Jason, we're all off in our own career paths and stages of life, but they drove down the 2.5 hours down to Binghamton to be at my mom's memorial mass. Nice floral arrangement that I believe Kitty was spearheaded on, and our group has seen the highs and lows of professional and personal life. We've been there for each other through it all. And I'm just so thankful that you're able to share this high moment for me personally, and so thank you. I turn now, I'm going to start wrapping up shortly. We'd like to keep things efficient, but turn to Bill and Tam, or Judge Taylor and Judge Buck.
No crying, Joe.
Looks like Judge Moran's chambers. We now have 3 judges.
I know, that's right.
But, again, today marks the beginning of a new chapter. But these last 7-8 years have been truly life-changing. They say you never work a day in your life if you love what you do. And it's because of Tammy and Bill. I have loved every single day, and it's never felt like work these past years. But for Tammy, after you interviewed me and we discussed our mutual love of dachshunds, I knew we had a good thing going, and thank you for hiring me. But good days, bad days, whatever it was, whatever was thrown at us, we just rolled up the sleeves and got the job done. And so I'm always forever grateful for that. And thanks to you and Dwayne. Dwayne and Helen can talk home renovations, DIY projects. Just so thankful for your both of your friendship. Bill, what is there to say? Just these years, that I think the collaboration that you discussed, important legal matters, small legal matters, whatever it was important to the litigants before us. We took everything very seriously, thoughtful, from the researching, discussing, writing a draft. Bill would even allow me to ask attorneys some questions during special terms. So he really was not shy about getting me deeply involved in the work of the court, and I'm so thankful for that. But also writing a draft decision and another draft of that, and another draft, another draft. But it goes on. But again, that's the craft of being a great judge, and that's part of the toolbox, and something that I'm so thankful that I was able to hone with Bill under his leadership. But some other great things from Bill, the Aesop's fables, just how to treat people. Product is king. We take pride in our work, and we're very thankful to be doing the privileged job that we're doing. A great judge once told me that when he first took the bench, he emulated the great judges he had either known or worked for. I will have lived a full life and helped many people if I'm able to mimic just a fraction of what I've learned from you. So thank you. And thank you to my dad for your love and support over these years. I'm so thankful for you and to be able to be here to share this great moment. And thank you to my sister Mary. Just very appreciative. Growing up, we just had the 2 kids, Joseph and Mary. But if you were if you were my mom being from Northern Ireland, Roman Catholic, sometimes you'd think we would have a third if we acted up. Jesus, Joseph, and Mary. But again, Mary, thank you for everything. I'm successes. I think the mom is most certainly here with us, no doubt she's very proud, and she's enjoying all the incredible outpouring of support that you all are showing here today. And so I don't think I've missed anyone. Of course. Helen, thank you for everything. I just, I've been through it all. We're a great team. I love you more than anything. Just thank you for everything that you've done, and you mean the world to me. So, but I'm excited for this next chapter of our lives. I'm looking forward to really serving our community with great pride. I'm going to work hard, and I sincerely, truly hope that I do you all proud. And so with that, that's all I have to say. Thank you all for being here. Court is adjourned.